King Noble Black Supremacy. With this particular video, I want to talk about what an NFL player and a police officer have in common. The brutality that they have in common, I might say. Now, if you look at a police officer, and let's just use a black police officer. I love using black police. He's paid to brutalize black people in order to enforce white laws, to enforce a white supremacy government and a foreign occupation within the black community, an invasion of white supremacy. The black cop is paid to brutalize. That's his job, to use unnecessary force in order to enforce laws, the rules. He has to play by the rules, and the rules mean brutality sometimes, and he's getting paid to brutalize. Now, you go over here and you look at the NFL, and you got a black player, and he's paid to brutalize. He's paid to break somebody's back, break their spine, break their neck, get the ball. The white man's rules, the rules of the white man's game. He's paid to brutalize, to be brutal. The brutal the NFL player, the better. The NFL is 67% black. So if you're a black NFL player, you're more likely paid to brutalize another black person more than you're paid to brutalize a white. If you're a black cop, you're more likely paid to brutalize a black suspect than you are a white. Blacks are disproportionately locked up in jail based on their white counterparts. 12% of the population, 35% of incarcerated inmates. The prison industrial complex, the privatization of prisons. Prisons are owned by white people, the white elite, predominantly white investors. The NFL is owned by whites, predominantly white owners. Whites make the rules. Blacks play by the rules. Whites are entertained at the brutality that they see in the NFL. They find it entertaining. Of black on black violence, brutality. White supremacists, neo-Nazis are entertained at police brutality on blacks. They just find it entertaining because, hey, we deserve it. They're both dealing with capitalism. Capitalism is at the systematic root of the NFL, and it's at the root of police brutality. They're both doing their job. They're both being paid, and it's a big booming industry. They both provide jobs for black people, for the people who get brutalized. The race of people that get brutalized, they provide jobs for them. The NFL hires a lot of blacks that are paid to brutalize blacks. I don't understand what an NFL player, from looking at it from a capitalistic perspective, of what a black NFL player thinks is so different about the NFL and police brutality. Like, what? How it's ironic that a person in the NFL, a black person that's paid to participate in the game of brutality. It's a plantation, a slave plantation for white entertainment, and how they can go and have a problem with police brutality. These NFL players are being injured, permanent injuries, brain damage, head brain messed up, spinal and nervous problems for the rest of their life. That's brutality. They're paid to injure and they're paid to take injury. It's a part of the game. It's part of capitalism. Why is policing looked at as a different game? That's not a game. That's not a part of the capitalistic game. So to be against brutality, you have to be against capitalism, because that's at the root of it. Not some bad white cops, because that's not going to fund it. That's not going to organize it. Capitalism has become the organization of white supremacy. White supremacy without organization is some redneck spewing out racial epithets, discriminating in some coffee shop somewhere, riding by in a pickup truck, screaming out racial epithets. A bar brawl, a segregated white neighborhood that's really damn near impoverished itself. But when you add organization to white supremacy, you get what capitalism has created. Capitalism funds racism. It funds black destruction. It funds white advancement. Capitalism is at the root. Capitalism is the systematic function of white supremacy. That's what the NFL and police brutality and police officers, NFL players and police officers have in common. They're both doing their job, and it's a fucking lucrative job, man. It pays you to help you take care of your family, so you're justified. And whatever brutality that you act out, you're backed up by the institutions that own it. You're backed up by the NFL. You're backed up by law enforcement, by the police department. You're backed up. They're both fraternities. They both are elite classes that distinguish them from the average citizens walking around. What do they have in common? I mean, that's why it's just so crazy. You're paid to brutalize. You should understand brutality. You should understand the game of brutality, the systematic capitalistic game of brutality. You should understand that. If you're an NFL player, you should be able to identify with the black cop or the white cop that's getting paid to brutalize, getting paid to tackle, getting paid to ram, getting paid to slam, throw down. Football is symbolic of the American game of capitalism. This is King Noble Black Supremacy, signing out.